Hi guys, it's Dr. Brooke Kolesiak of Legacy Physical Therapy coming to you today to talk about the 5 tips every woman should know about her pelvic floor. And to start it off, the first tip is basically what is the pelvic floor? Do you even know what it is and where it is? So the pelvic floor is a group of muscles on the bottom of our pelvis that basically make a bowl on the bottom of our pelvis. And that bowl goes from our pubic bone in the front to our tailbone in the back and spans across our sit bone. So right now on the chair that I'm sitting on, I am sitting on my pelvic floor. And these muscles are intimately related around our urethra, vagina, and anus and have several functions, such as making sure that we don't pee and poop on ourselves when it's not time to. They also need to relax to let the pee and the poop happen when it is. They're involved in sexual function with arousal and orgasming. They're part of our core support muscles, so the very bottom part of our core. They are involved in our helping to support our bony pelvis and making sure that it has good support around it. So these are a little group of muscles that have lots and lots of function to them. And so they're pretty important to us and unfortunately oftentimes get ignored. So I'm here to say that we should not be ignoring our pelvic floor and that. And so our second tip is that if people are aware that they have a pelvic floor, oftentimes the only thing that they think that they should do with it is just contract the pelvic floor. So they think about maybe a woman's been told to do Kegel exercises, and a Kegel exercise is a generic term for a contraction of the pelvic floor muscles. So when we contract the pelvic floor, we squeeze off around the urethra, vagina, and anus. So it's this kind of draw up and in motion, like you're stopping the flow of urine or holding back gas, and that is what is considered a Kegel exercise. But muscles are not designed to only contract. Muscles need to be able to both contract and relax and stretch. Okay, so the pelvic floor, we should not be constantly doing the Kegel exercise. Okay, many women wrongly assume that they should be doing that all day long or trying to hold it tight all day long. You know, if we're working on trying to strengthen a muscle, it needs to move to strengthen. So it doesn't do me any good to walk around all day trying to make a bicep muscle here tight and holding it tight like this. I need to bend and straighten my elbow to get that muscle to move with me. So same thing goes for the pelvic floor. We want to make sure that we get some movement there, not just that hold all day long. Okay, so that was tip number 2, that being able to Kegel is not the only thing that the pelvic floor should be doing. Okay, tip number 3 is that leaking is never normal. Okay, so bladder leakage is common, but it is not normal. And many women wrongly assume that as they age, that leaking is just going to be a normal part of their life. And this leaking can occur in the form of bladder leakage when we cough or sneeze or laugh, or maybe when we try to jump or run, we have some leakage, or maybe we're having trouble getting to the bathroom in time. There's all different types of bladder leakage, but I'm here to tell you that bladder leakage is never normal, and there's almost always something that you can do to make a difference on it, and oftentimes that something is very conservative in nature and doesn't necessarily require medications or surgery. So don't just live with bladder leakage. There's things that you can do to make a difference with it. And just remember that although leaking is common, it is not normal. Okay, so that was the 3rd tip. 4th tip is that our pelvic floor is part of the reason why we have healthy bowel movements. Okay, so the other part is making sure that we're eating a nice, nutritious, fibrous diet and taking in plenty of fluids. But our pelvic floor plays a big role in making sure that our bowels are moving healthily. And so making sure that your pelvic floor muscles are contracting and relaxing and moving the way that they should be can assist if you are having some issues with bowel movements. So we frequently work with women who are having trouble with constipation, who need to learn to relax their pelvic floor muscles better to be able to create a better push to have a bowel movement. Quick tip that I'll give right now is that positioning on the toilet can make a huge difference to helping you relax your pelvic floor to be able to push. I am a big fan of a product called the Squatty Potty. You can see it at squattypotty.com. and that it helps to get us in a better kind of squat position on the toilet to be able to have a more ready to release bowel movement that requires us to push less and strain less and have that bowel movement come out a little bit more easily. So I'm a big fan of that for positioning's sake to help us have a better bowel movement. Okay? But our pelvic floor is a big part of us being able to have healthy bowel movements. All right, fifth tip for women about their pelvic floor, so that every woman should know, is that sex should not be painful. Okay, so unfortunately, a lot of times, again, kind of like bladder leakage, women think that as they age, intercourse being less and less comfortable is just a normal part of it. Again, common, but not normal. Yes, I swear I'm going to get that tattooed on my forehead because I say it all the time. But we are not all marching down the path to intercourse being less and less comfortable. And so if you are experiencing pain with intercourse, oftentimes there can be a problem with your pelvic floor muscles not stretching and relaxing as well as they should be, or there's tissue that's too tense or tight that's not moving the way that it should be. There also could be a lubrication issue that is playing into it. So there's many, many things that you can do to make a difference with that so that you're not just living with pain with intercourse. And there are things you can do to make a change. So those are our 5 tips. Again, going over them really quick. First one is, hey, we have a pelvic floor. And it helps to give us support to our pelvis, it's the bottom of our core. It helps to have us have normal bowel and bladder function. So these pelvic floor muscles on the bottom of our pelvis are a very important part of our day-to-day life. Number 2, our pelvic floor muscles should be able to do more than just doing a Kegel exercise. Number 3, leakage is never normal. Number 4, healthy pelvic floor can lead to having healthy bowel movements. And number 5, pain with intercourse is never a good thing, and there's things you can do about it. So there are 5 tips that every woman should know about her pelvic floor. If any of these kind of struck a nerve with you and kind of resonate with you as things that you're experiencing, this is something that pelvic physical therapy can be very, very helpful for. And so we hope that you reach out either to us or any other wonderful pelvic physical therapists in your area to try and help you out, because as I've said before, this is not things that you should be living with, and there are things you can do to make a difference.